Hey everyone, it's Robin D. Groot, and it's TLC Truth, Love, Creativity, and today is April 1st, 2020, and it's not an April Fool's joke. I'm doing my reading for the day. Today I'll use the Enchanted Map Oracle Cards by Colette Baron Reid. This was one of the first decks that I ever got online on my phone. So I really liked it. The first one that I really started to understand, the reversed, is a protection, kind of a challenge, but just points you in a different direction. So let me move a few of these around. Keep some, if the reverse comes up for us. I'm quite the shuffler. Cards are not that big, but my hands are not that big either. So someday when I get my better equipment and I can put it in the right spot and then have the deck a little below the camera, that's what I'm working towards, then I will hopefully do a better job with the shuffling. So first card for today, Into the Unknown, reversed, number 7. Second card, Bone Collector, number 1. Third card, Goblins, number 5. So into the unknown, we continue on our journey of not knowing what's happening right now, what will happen. I was just thinking on the talk today, I'll be on Zoom with the celebrity entrepreneurs. And I feel like there are times in our lives and in history when there's the harbinger of change comes. And that harbinger of change is not an easy task. So the person or thing that has to do that, you almost have to commend them on some level because they require change, that we indeed change. So when I see this one, Into the Unknown reversed, that's actually a little bit of an interesting good sign to me because yes, we're going into the unknown, but if it's reversed, sometimes there is some opposite effects of things. So if that was upright, it's like this woman is at a costume party or a masquerade type of thing, and she's wearing a blindfold and she's on the balcony. She can't see, but it doesn't mean that she's not going forward and being at the party. She's holding a pendulum in her one hand. And that actually, the pendulum is very interesting because it brings up all our, it's another intuitive connector, basically. So the pendulum works with the energies of the earth, and it can spin to tell you certain things, the yes or the no go. And I feel like it is a good guide to connect to should you do something right now. So in this case, we may be feeling like we're starting to get a handle on things and we know what we're doing. But I feel like that's still not quite the case, and we have to remember this card is Into the Unknown, and it's like I've been saying from the beginning, this is a bigger picture thing is happening right now. So I think it's a spiritual thing. This number on the card is 7. So I do think that, like I was saying, the harbinger of change can be seemingly a negative object, person, event, effect. And right now it's the virus. It's the COVID-19 coronavirus. And it is creating change, whether we want it or not, whether we like it or not. But that's where I feel like in that there's always the possibility for something good, because the reverse cards are always trying to protect us. So I think they're trying to stay open. Don't get into this new pattern. Maybe it's coping, maybe it's thriving. I'm not sure, but I still think you have to keep your mind open, because we're in the middle of it right now, but we're not through it. So I do think something new is coming. So don't assume you know exactly what this is all about. And basically, when things are hidden by camouflage, you don't take on definitely a whole adventure or anything, because you basically can't see. So I do think that this card is a reminder to stay open, do the things we're doing, but do it cautiously, use tools to give us guidance. Now the Bone Collector is upright. That is the middle card. And upright is full speed ahead, kind of. It's just whatever the card actually means in the first place. And usually the Bone Collector it's telling you to look very closely at your circumstances, because you may be just holding on to things. And it's not bad to hold on to things. I think in this case, we can see all the things that are important to us, and they're really kind of in a close circle. So I think that the truth that we are starting to see is what's important to us, and that we're being forced to kind of focus on those things. So when we've always been reacting in a certain way to trials and error and whatever, I think we just tend to continue to keep that pattern. So this is a little bit of that reminder that this is a little bit like our wounds. We collect all these traumas and we just keep them as our own little, in some native things, they have fetishes, but that's a little bit of a different meaning. Their fetishes are more like they're protectors and they're spirits and things like that. So in this case, I just think they're like our, I'm trying to think of the word. The word is more like your mementos and things like that. But we definitely should be letting things go when they're traumatic things. You have to learn to face them, work through them, and be open to new patterns. So when you hold on to all these old things, I think the biggest problem is that you're feeling unworthy, and you're feeling like the things are you and the things are not you. So the things are always just a part of your experience to help you grow, become who you are. So in that case, things like even good things that you've done, achievements in your life, they're awesome things, and they probably help you to feel better about yourself, but they're not you still. You have to remind yourself that the experience brings you to a higher level of growth, even the difficult experience. And right now we're in a difficult experience. So she's also looking like a native woman who's got her rituals, symbols, and on some level, that's always a protection. So she's trying to say we are protected. We are being kept safe right now from the wounding. And it's like those things that are our patterns and we've collected them, they're still a resource. we can still look at that and say to ourselves, are we reacting? Are we doing the same kind of response that we normally do? And at least you have something to draw on as your previous patterns. So anything that you have from your experience and you've collected or not, it's often, this is your awareness and it's your repertoire. So it's not that it's all negative to hold on to the memories or any of those things, because it's how we respond or react to them. Because a lot of times this is our information. This is especially in your subconscious mind. The more we're aware, if it's in our subconscious mind, and we can draw on that information and say, hey, I'm going to consciously do something about this instead of only reactionary and knee-jerk type of reactions. That becomes more of the subconscious mind response, because subconscious mind is designed to protect us. And even though it often can seem like it's blocking us because it's reliving a story that maybe we were involved with when we were really young, and now that doesn't really apply, but we're still responding in the same way like when we were really young. So I think the idea here is to be ultra aware of the things that we've collected, we've been doing, and use these for good instead of using them only for coping, survival. And this can really be a moment of growth, because we're in a time when we have time to basically look at our own situations, our circumstances, our patterns, and be able to have some kind of awareness, analysis, and see where we want to go from there. Now, the Goblins 5 is also a card about wounding. And it's something that is kind of like, it's illusionary. There's things that remain in the shadows, and people talk about their shadow work. There's work to be done about the things that are still part of you. Again, it's your pain, it's your trauma, and sometimes we just don't want to look at that anymore. We're just tired of it, and we don't really want it to define us, which it shouldn't, but it's still actually a real part of us. So we may have brought these things into they're almost like fantasy forms, because they're not really being assimilated and let go of. They're just becoming this other entity almost. And then they can be tricky, and goblins are the tricksters, and they're trying to tell you that you're unworthy and you're not going to make it in all of this, and everything is just doom and gloom. And you have to know that that's not true. Those are old stories, and those are born out of an experience that you don't need to exactly relive or have the same as it was. Sorry, getting clear my throat. So if you find that you're finding that shadows and this type of part of yourself is coming up right now, then you're starting to see, again, your reactions. And are you going into a reactive type of behavior? And are you just down on yourself, feeling no hope? It's a good reminder that everybody has demons on some level, and everyone has their issues. This is just part of being human. We all have flaws, we all have all these things. So when you feel this, you should actually kind of go the opposite way and just think, this is like a divine message. This is the shadow work. It's very important work. Because if you can actually take from this the awareness again, the knowledge that you are not all those things that you're hearing in your little, you're hearing in your ear, and this voice is telling you you're terrible and all these things, you'll never make it, then remember the opposite, that no, you're a child of the light, and we all have a divine spark within us. We're here on planet Earth to actually grow, learn, raise the energy, raise our own energy, and combine the resonance, basically. So the resonance is uplifted. We resonate as a human race at a higher level when each of us does our own work. And I think that's the amazing thing about being human. So I'm pretty happy to see this card reading. It's not necessarily an easy one, because this one's a little bit more about like, be open, don't think you've got it all under control, because it's still, as they keep saying, it's many moving targets, or it's a moving target. And it's not that you don't want to have hope, but you don't want to think this is all I need to do, and I figured it all out and whatever. So I do think that going inward, being aware when things are coming up, all of your past right now is really important. So even though it may appear negative, we have come to a point, most of us who are at least watching these videos usually are becoming more and more enlightened in our own awareness of ourselves, and maybe how this affects the larger whole. So we've got the cards here. Sorry, I'm having so much congestion a little bit. I am having some allergies, which is interesting. I haven't usually had seasonal allergies before, but I've never been in a desert, really dry place in the spring before. So this is new, and I am learning. So we have 7, and 1 is 8, and 5 is 13. So that's 3 plus 1 is 4. So today is kind of it's a bit of a work reading, because the 4 is always about foundations, building. It's about stability, which is great, because stability is what you can gain from this. You may feel like if you're upside down, you're in the unknown, you still don't know, you want to know like what we're doing right now and where it's all going, but you really can't. Then it's a time to go inward, be grateful for all of these aspects of your life experience so far, and yourself, that have been saved for you in some way, and that you can draw on and remember, and then do the shadow work. Really do the meditation, do the breathing, and some of the fun stuff. Go somewhere where you can do the punching bag or hit the pillows if you're angry, and really get some movement going in your body. I have the mini trampoline of mine, and I really recommend it, because you get to move energy, and this inertia can stop. So we kind of got out of the other numbers, which kept being 6, healing, and service. Now it's a little bit more like, let's build some structure for our own lives. And within all of this, and actually today's April 1st, which is the beginning of a week at least, where the energies in astrology are really beneficial. There's no eclipses, or not eclipses, but retrogrades, and there's no shadows of the retrogrades. So there's this really good time from now until, I don't know, the 8th or so, maybe the 9th, that it's awesome for beginning new things, putting something out there, making a launch, because the energies are really good for that. So I think having a number 4 for the deck, for the card reading, is really good because it's stability and it's foundation. So if you have an idea and you really want to put that out there today, then do it and just go full steam ahead. And have in the background that you've worked on some of your things, because then what you're coming up with will be for growth and learning something new in the circumstances. And hopefully, like I was saying from the beginning, don't allow it to just be negative, but that it's a difficult thing that is actually strong enough to create change. That's really necessary for all of us. So listen on Facebook, on Zoom today, if you can. Find the link that I posted. It should be in my feed because I shared it, and it's from Clint Arthur and the Celebrity Quarantine Stories. So I'm going to be at 3:20 Pacific time, which happens to be the same as Arizona time, but not the rest of Mountain Time. And then that becomes different for the Eastern time and all the Central time. So make the conversions if you're in different places. But I'm also going to make an offer that hopefully is just helpful, because it's the time, right? This is the week. So we get to tell little stories about our life, and I always have so many stories because of whatever I grew up with, and hopefully they're interesting and maybe entertaining, but I just hope they help you and feel some learning and all of that. And then if you can take advantage of any of the offers, then go for it. And I'm really grateful to the people who've subscribed and have been liking or commenting on my video and sharing. So thank you, everyone. I hope you continue to do that. You can always just email me, Robin at RobinMDGroot, and just say, hey, what can I do? What can I work with you on? Because I am totally here to help right now. I may start another civilian job because I'm gonna try to help out in grocery or some of those type of things. So the hours will be a little different, but I will still continue to do all of this, and I hope that I can be of some kind of help, just to create this awareness, help you see more about yourself, do shadow work, and all those types of things. I think this is the moment that we all can shine.